A low-intensity blast rocked a convention center in Kochi in Kerala on Sunday, targeting the prayer meeting of the Jehovah's Witnesses. The explosion, which is being seen as a terror attack, left 3 dead and over 20 others were taken for immediate treatment. But who are Jehovah's Witnesses? There is a Supreme Court judgment from 1986 that actually spoke about them, and I'm going to tell you all about this in today's video. Now, as per the website jw.org, which is Jehovah's Witnesses official website, they have been present in India since 1905. It says that, and I quote, "The witnesses benefit from the guarantees of India's constitution, which include the right to practice, profess, and propagate one's faith," unquote. According to the same website, there were over 86 lakh Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide in the year 2022, which is last year, and over 56,000 in India. As for their conduct, it says that, and I quote again, "We strive to show unselfish love in all our actions. We avoid practices that displease God, including the misuse of blood by taking blood transfusions. We are peaceful and do not participate in warfare," unquote. The website adds that while they respect the government and obey its laws, they do it as long as these do not call on them to disobey God's laws. But how did their belief reach the Supreme Court? Now, the story begins with a petition that was filed by 3 siblings, Bijo, Binu Mol, and Bindu Emmanuel, belonging to the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses. As per the Supreme Court judgment, during the morning assembly, these were all children studying in school. The 3 children used to stand when the national anthem Jana Gana Mana was sung, but respectfully did not sing along. This was because they believed that singing it was against the tenets of their religious faith. They did this for years until July 1985, when some patriotic gentlemen took notice. These are Supreme Court's words. This gentleman, it said, felt that it was unpatriotic of the children not to sing the national anthem, and this gentleman happened to be a member of the Legislative Assembly. What followed was that the children were expelled from their school in July 1985 by the headmistress under the direction of the Deputy Inspector of Schools. Their parents challenged this before the High Court, Kerala High Court, which upheld their expulsion in October 1985, and then the matter reached the Supreme Court, which then in detail looked at what this faith actually stands for. In this judgment, the Supreme Court began with quoting Encyclopedia Britannica on Jehovah's Witnesses. The encyclopedia says, and I quote again, you can see the quote on your screens right now, that Jehovah's Witnesses are the adherents of the apocalyptic sect organized by Charles Taze Russell in the early 1870s. The encyclopedia further explains, the witnesses also stand apart from civil society, refusing to vote, run for public office, serve in any armed forces, salute the flag, stand for the national anthem, or recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Their religious stands have brought clashes with various governments, resulting in lawsuits, mob violence, imprisonment, torture, and even death. And the Supreme Court looked beyond India and looked at a 1943 judgment passed by the Australian High Court as well. In this case, the Australian High Court had explained the beliefs of this sect in more detail. For example, the Australian High Court had noted that Jehovah's Witnesses are an association of persons who regard the literal interpretation of the Bible as fundamental to proper religious beliefs. The Australian High Court had further observed that Jehovah's Witnesses believe that God, Jehovah, is the supreme ruler of the universe. It had noted, and I quote again, "Satan or Lucifer was originally part of God's organization, and the perfect man was placed under him. He rebelled against God and set up his own organization in challenge to God, and through that organization had ruled the world. He rules and controls the world through material agencies such as organized political, religious, and financial bodies," unquote. Again, there's another quote. You can see all these quotes on your screens right now. In fact, I'm going to add links to all of these judgments, the Supreme Court judgment, the Kerala High Court judgment, as well as the Australian High Court judgment. Now, the Australian High Court again said, and I quote, "Christ, they believe, came to earth to redeem all men who would devote themselves entirely to serving God's will and purpose, and he will come to earth again. His second coming has already begun and will overthrow all the powers of evil." Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, the High Court noted, this is the Australian High Court, noted they are Christians entirely devoted to the kingdom of God, which is the theocracy, have no part in the political affairs of the world, and must not interfere in the least manner with war between nations. Now, what did the Supreme Court, let me just bring you back to the Supreme Court case. What did it rule on those 3 children being expelled? The court took note of the beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses and asserted that it is evident that Jehovah's Witnesses, wherever they are, hold religious beliefs which may appear strange or even bizarre to us, but the sincerity of their beliefs is beyond question. It then asked, are they entitled to be protected by the Constitution? Answering in the affirmative, the Supreme Court asserted that the expulsion of the children from the school for not joining the singing of the national anthem, even though they respectfully always stood up in silence, this expulsion, it said, was violative of Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, which is the freedom of speech and expression. The court also said that it was satisfied that the expulsion of the 3 children for what they did, for their belief, their religious faith, because of which they didn't sing the national anthem. It said that this violates their fundamental right to freedom of conscience and the freedom to profess, practice and propagate religion under Article 25 of the Constitution. And therefore, the court asked the authorities to readmit those 3 children. And the judgment ended with a line which I want to end this video with. The line says, "We only wish to add, our tradition teaches tolerance, our philosophy preaches tolerance, our constitution practices tolerance. Let us not dilute it." That's all I have for you for today. This is Apoorva Mandhani for ThePrint. For more such videos, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.